Hi everyone, I'm Ben. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to Ben Reads Good. Now, Booktube, I've got to tell you, I've made a mistake. Somehow I managed to completely miss the memo on the Booktube Newbie Tag. Now, this tag is a rite of passage for all new channels and it's been knocking around since 2014. But this numpty managed to completely skip it and go straight in with a book haul and a wrap up. Now, I am happy to rock the boat a little bit, but I don't want to capsize this ship before we have even left the port. So today I'm back with the Booktube Newbie Tag. I'll be answering 10 questions that will let you get to know me a bit more and why I started this channel. Let's get cracking. Question 1, why did you start this channel? I started this channel to save my friendships. For years now, I've been blathering on to blank faces about books and reading, and I am pretty sure they want me to zip it, lock it, throw away the key, and shut the hell up about books. To be honest, if I don't find another outlet for all these feelings, I fear some long-standing friendships are at stake. Okay, maybe I am exaggerating just a little bit. But by starting this channel, I do get to direct all of that energy at you, which is really exciting for me. But in all seriousness, a big part of this is just to challenge myself. I have been watching Booktube for a few years now and been thinking about this channel, but I've never sort of taken the initiative to get started. I'm not normally the sort of person who likes to be centre of attention, so this is very out of character for me. But earlier this year, I got married and I had to make a speech. And let me tell you, it's one of the scariest things I've ever done in my life. I was bricking it. But it went really, really well. I know weddings are an easy crowd and you've got everyone eating out of the palm of your hand. But so many people told me how surprised they were at how confident I was and how funny the speech was. So the whole experience gave me this little boost in self-belief, and I realised that I'll never be a part of Booktube if I don't push myself to do it. So that's why I've taken this step. Question 2, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? As a wise man once said, under promise and over deliver. So I am promising absolutely nothing. I'm just kidding, please like and subscribe. Question 3, what are you most excited about for this new channel? Being part of a community that I've been watching for a few years is really exciting. More personally though, I have not had a creative outlet for a while, and video editing seems like a really fun, creative way to spend my downtime. Question 4, why do you love reading? Ooh, this is a good one. I think the thing I love most about reading is how active it requires you to be. In a world of Netflix and Spotify and Instagram and TikTok, it's so easy to passively engage with media. If you hit play on Breaking Bad, and look, I wouldn't judge you if you did, it is a great show, but if you did, those 5 seasons are going to play whether you're paying attention or you're looking at your phone. But with reading, when you stop, the activity stops. You have to really actively engage with the paper book you're reading or your e-reader. I find it so rewarding to take those words from the page like they're a script and essentially get to play director in your own head. When I'm reading a good book, that depth of engagement gives me a feeling that I don't get from many, if any, other mediums. Now, I don't get that feeling from every book I read, of course, but a lot of my adult reading life is propelled by trying to find books that give me that feeling. Side note, this is just one of the things I personally love about reading. And I know that for some people, audiobooks are just way better for them, or maybe even the only way that they can access books. If audiobooks are your books of choice or the way that you have to read, then more power to you. That's awesome. Question 5, what book or series got you into reading? You know, I see a lot of people on this tag say Harry Potter, and then they have to grapple with crediting she who shall not be named for their reading habits. Obviously, I did read Harry Potter books when I was a kid, but I found my own problematic author even earlier, Enid Blyton. She's known for series like The Famous Five or The Magic Faraway Tree, and I had an enormous stack of Enid Blyton books and was absolutely mesmerised by her stories. It's disappointing that she was sexist, racist, homophobic, basically the full house on the red flag bingo card. But as a kid, you don't often get a great deal of choice and you read what's in front of you. For me, it created magical worlds that rapt my imagination. Less problematically, I also remember being really into the Alex Rider series by Anthony Horowitz, but I think for some reason I started on like book 3 because it was in the 3 for 2 offer at Waterstones and I didn't realise it was a series, but loved those books. Question 6. What questions would you ask your favourite booktubers? I do have some specific questions like, where does Jack Edwards get his knitwear? How much did Simon Savage have to bribe his husband to let him have an entire room in his house as a library room? Very jealous. But more generally, I guess I'm really interested to know, how do booktubers manage to balance their time between having a full-time job and having a YouTube channel and reading all the books to both maintain their enjoyment in books and create content? I'm in awe of how people do all of that. Question 7. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? I can think of 3. Number 1, I think consistency is going to be a really big challenge for me. I sometimes get really into something, but I don't keep up a regular schedule and it dies away a little bit. I'm hoping that encouragement from the community will help me stick to this one. Second, I'm hugely self-conscious as a person and I don't even particularly love having my photo taken, but I've heard that exposure is the best cure sometimes, so maybe watching hours and hours of footage of my own face will help me get over that. Third, there's a moderate to good chance I'm going to get really obsessed with the metrics. My day job is a product manager for a website, and part of that involves running A/B tests where rather than guess which version of a new feature is going to perform better, you put both out there and measure the success. Now, when we run those tests, I get very obsessed and I can see me doing exactly the same thing with the YouTube metrics. Question 8. When did you start reading? Super young. My mum's friend used to babysit me and she would always encourage me to read. I have some really vivid memories of being so excited that she was coming over and I would grab an entire stack of books from the school library. In a way, baby's first TBR. I didn't suffer the adult reading slump that I know a lot of people go through at university, but I kind of consistently just read like 1 book a month for many years. Some of my favourites for a long time from that period of my life were things like The Time Traveller's Wife and One Day. But now that I read 50 or 60 books a year, which isn't tons, but it's a lot more than I used to read, I found that my reading habits have really expanded and my horizon and taste and my favourites have really changed over the years. Question 9. Where do you read? Most nights I'll read in bed before I go to sleep. Thankfully, my partner is able to fall asleep while I've still got my lamp on. I also spend a lot of time in coffee shops, so most weekends I'll spend a few hours in one with a book. I just really like the vibe, the clinking of cups, the sound of the coffee machine, the background hubbub. It's just a really nice place to sort of zone in on a book and let the sounds of the environment wash over you. Finally, question 10. What kind of books do you like to read? I'm mostly into literary fiction. To be honest, I don't love the term literary fiction. I think there's sort of a connotation of snobbishness attached to it, but it probably does best describe what sort of books I like. I do also read some sci-fi and sometimes I'll read thrillers or fantasy, but not super often. I don't have any problems with YA or genre fiction, but I don't typically run to books with recognisable tropes. They tend to take me out of the narrative more than they comfort me, which I know is something that a lot of readers get from genre books. Because I used to read so few books a year and I was quite anti-hardback, I used to only buy paperbacks, a total backlist boy. But a couple of years ago, as I ramped up my reading and I realised that hardbacks are great, I've really gotten into things like the book prizes, the Booker Prize and the Women's Prize. I love to follow along, as well as keeping abreast of new releases. Generally though, I love books that make me think a little bit differently about the world in some way. I won't go into what my favourite books are though, I'll save that for another video. So that's my Booktube Newbie Tag. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, please consider liking the video and subscribing to my channel. Until next time, toodles!